Hello, well, and welcome everyone. Actually, welcome back to the Speaker Series. Welcome to those that this is your first time joining us for our Speaker Series. And one thing that's really exciting, it's a first time for us in our Speaker Series to have a guest back, all because this is what you have requested. Alicia Maddox did such a fantastic job speaking, actually almost 3 quarters ago now. It was the fourth quarter last year in November, which you spoke for us, and overwhelmingly in the chat, y'all said, we need more of her knowledge. So today I have the pleasure, let me go ahead and introduce Alicia to y'all again. Those for you the first time, you get to know a little bit more about her. But Alicia, after graduating from Georgia Southern University, Alicia began working as a business development executive in the hotel industry. While in this position, she enjoyed building relationships and gained lots of experience in high pressure situations, problem solving, negotiation, and communication. Alicia believes that the role prepared her for a career in real estate and sparked her love for negotiating a deal. And everyone likes someone that can negotiate for them. Outside of providing one of a kind experience to her clients, you'll likely find her at a local coffee shop, happy hour, playing local sports league, buying the latest motivational book, talking about massive goals with friends or with family and her dogs, Ralph and Red. Alicia loves helping thousands of people make their home dreams come true, being an impactful community leader, and empowering others to live a big, beautiful life. Alicia is with Engel Volkers Atlanta. And, I want to again thank you for being here. Let me quick get all of our disclosures out of the way as we have to do every single time. But so before we dive into the session, I just want to lay a little bit of groundwork down. The opinions and interpretations rendered are solely those of Alicia Maddox and do not necessarily reflect the position of Silverton Mortgage. We'll be discussing legal concerns with posting engaging on social media. And of course, this should all be constructed as legal advice. Now, for all of you agents out there, you want to get with your broker to see what you can and can't do on social media. But in this case here right now, the session will last 30 to 45 minutes. If you have questions, please use the Q&A button located at the bottom of your screen to ask your questions. We have a staff monitoring and collecting your questions throughout the session so that we can do a Q&A at the end, because we do want to leave time for your questions because everyone's got them. We're recording this session. It will be available on Silverton Mortgage LinkedIn for future viewing. Okay, Alicia, yesterday we got to do a run through, and really what's funny is we go through everything. The end of what you said, I'm like, wow, that was it right there, which made me want to re-listen to everything we talked about. And for those of you out there, social media is one of the biggest tools out there, to the point where, to start with this premise, 80% of Alicia's real estate business has come from social media. And today she's going to show you really kind of where she started and how she started, and the paradigm shift that we all have to engage to realize this is the new networking. This is the new prospecting tool. And she's going to do it by showing what she's done, and her results, especially in this market, are outstanding. And I'll let her talk more about that. So starting off with, okay, I'm going to use social media in order to grow my business and build, really not just grow it, build it. There are so many other platforms out there, especially with like TikTok trending right now and all this stuff going on. What made you decide to use Instagram?
That's a good question. I just want to say thanks, Corey and Silverton, for having me back. I'm excited to chat more about Instagram today, but we're here to talk about Instagram, and that's my favorite platform. That's where I like to play the most. I do think it's important to have a presence on all the platforms. I just like to be on Instagram the most, and I chose that because that's where most of my people are. That's where most of my clients are, most of my friends, and most of potential clients, our future clients are.
Okay, and now one thing I want to let everyone know too is, now you had Instagram, you had your personal Instagram, which you still have. However, it was 4 years ago, correct? 2020 is when you did it?
Yeah, so I actually created the business Instagram before I got licensed because I knew that was going to be how I wanted to leverage business.
Okay, and then you just talked about why you chose Instagram. So what did you basically, you chose it for your real estate business, and what made you go ahead and start going into, okay, here's what I'm going to do in order to grow it? Because some people out there right now, you kind of play on social media, and you look at it, but you don't fully take it as a business. What made you sit there and go, okay, here's how I'm going to build the successful business I have now? And what did you do to start that off and start fresh with a new?
I mean, I would like to say that I knew exactly what I was doing from the start, but I don't think anyone knows what they're doing, even as they keep going. So really, I just got started. I knew I didn't. We talked about personal Instagram versus business Instagram, and I think you should start. If you have a personal Instagram, I think you should start over and start a business one. One, because you'll be more inclined to show up because you're not embarrassed that your friends or high school people on there, college people on there, they're following you, and you're like, oh no, what are they going to judge me? So just go ahead and get rid of that fear by starting a new account. So that is probably the main reason why I did start a new account is because I didn't want people to be judging me. But I also wanted to be a business account, and I started off specifically as a creator account on Instagram so that I would have access to all the business features and all the trending sounds on social media.
Okay, so basically it gave you that tool gave you a lot of other tools in order to grow it. And I love the fact that you started fresh. Now, in starting fresh, let's talk about like how what did you go about what made you decide, okay, here's what I'm going to do and here's how I'm going to get people to know me as who I am and get followers and I'm a real estate agent. Kind of what's the basis line you set for doing that for all of us that have to restart? Because you and I talked, I had to restart because my account was hacked. So I started a brand new business account myself within the last 60 days. And so I'm excited to learn a lot today myself.
So I started with starting my brand. I before I created the account, I wanted to have the Instagram handle. And I was very particular about what I wanted the handle to say because I knew that would kind of stick with me in my future brand. So I sat down and kind of built my personal brand first before I just jumped on social media with no direction or clarity of why I'm on there, what I'm posting. So creating the personal brand, setting that up first kind of helped me with direction on what to do on Instagram.
Okay, and so I want you to go ahead and share it so more people can follow you. Do you mind talking about that brand you set up and why you chose that and kind of, you know, what you did with it in order to grow that?
Yeah, absolutely. So my at is or my handle is happy hour underscore home. I think at the time their happy hour home was taken, so I threw an underscore in there, which is common. Sorry, guys. Can you still hear me?
Yep, yep, we got you.
Okay, perfect. Sorry about
I
that.
love technology, even though
Love
you're
it so much. I know. So and your phone never stops going off. So basically I created the handle. I sat down with a pen and a piece of paper, kind of old school, and just wrote down things that described me, what I wanted the brand to feel like, what I wanted it to, what I wanted you to see, like brand colors. And I wrote down words that I wanted people to kind of feel and that described me when they came across my page or my brand.
okay. So what's funny is when you said that you wrote down words of how you feel, what do you mind sharing some of those words just so people, because some people are like, I don't even know what to think of for my one word for me.
Yeah, so I just wrote down things that described, first of all, what I wanted the brand to feel like. I knew I wanted eventually to be more elevated, luxury. I wrote down words like glitter, which doesn't make sense now, but going back, I just wrote down anything that came to mind. So just anything that kind of I liked, and then what I did for fun, what I wanted my brand pillars to be. So looking back now, I was building brand pillars, is what we would call it now, but I was building out legs of what my brand looks like. So I like to host, I like to have people over, I like to make cocktails, I liked aesthetics in my home, I liked interior design. So all of that started to become a part of the brand.
Okay, so I guess people will get a feel for you and of what you love and you're passionate about, correct?
Right.
Now, how I keep hearing this word authenticity. Tell me how like that authenticity of you has played to help build your brand.
Yeah, I think that's your superpower is building an authentic brand to you because no one else can emulate or copy that. Especially in a service industry brand, I think being a personal brand is your superpower because you're going to build a tribe and a community that people like you. People want to work with people they know, like, and trust. So when you start being your authentic self, you start attracting people that like you. And so that's the success of Instagram is people start reaching out to you because they're already bought into who you are and how you operate because you're showing up and showing that. So if you're just trying to go on there, and I know we talked about yesterday, if you're a little bit more serious or buttoned up and you're trying to be like funny and comical and that's not really who you are, it's not really going to land, right? And vice versa. I'm a little bit more laid back and I like to joke. So if I'm just trying to be kind of like robotic and serious, to me that doesn't feel as natural. I wanted to find the fine line between professionalism, but also, we can joke a little bit too and have fun with it.
Okay, well, that's good. Now getting in there, the thing that's confusing is, I mean, I know we talked a bit, you pick a business page because of metrics, and I want you to talk about metrics here in a second. But the one thing that could be very confusing and even confusing for me, you have so many different things that you can do on it. Do I post on my story? Do I post a reel? Do I post just a post? I mean, what works does if you could put analytics and kind of what has worked to drive the business that you have driven over the 4 years. What works for you and kind of how do you go about leveraging those analytics in order to grow your business?
Yeah, I think one of the cool things about having a business account on Instagram, and when I say business, a creator account is also a business account. Creator just has more access to features. Um, you get to track your analytics. So you get to track how many impressions you're getting, how many follows you're getting, what kind of type of content is, producing the most traffic flow for you. So for me personally right now, so far this month, I've had around 54,000 impressions. I take a look at that ever so often, and then I look at what portion of that came from video, what portion of that came from reels versus stories versus lives versus static posts. And right now, Instagram is pretty clear. They want you to be on video. And what my analytics are showing is reels are what's getting me the most views or the most traction.
Okay, so reels are getting you the most traction, so people watch this. Obviously, if y'all are not on video, it's joke. You got to be on video. I don't care if you have a face made for radio. You got to be on video because that's
How to be on video. Yeah.
so now right now reels is the one to focus on. But so what's the point of stories and what's the point of still post and reels? Kind of how do you choose what goes where when you post?
That's a great question. I want to point out that Instagram, their main goal is to keep people on the app for as long as possible. So if someone's on the app on your page or your video or your post specifically, that tells them, let me boost that out to more people. So that's kind of the goal when you're creating content is to get people to have their eyeballs on it for longer so that you get pushed out to more eyeballs. But essentially, I break down using all of the features that Instagram has because that's what they want you to do. If they have new features, you definitely want to be doing those because that's what they're trying to push out at the time. But I like to mix in video content with static post content because some people like more of a blog style reading post versus most people like the video, but some people still like the reading style. So I'll mix in every week doing both. I'm a little heavier on reels because that is video and that grabs attention more and that's what people want to see more. But as far as stories, and I talk about this all the time. Stories, you just can't, you have to be on there every day on stories. So it doesn't necessarily have to be your face on there every day. It doesn't necessarily have to be you working on there every day. But stories is where people get to know you, they get to connect with you. And that's when they get to start sending you DMs and you can become very social on there. So I like to say, like, your feed is kind of like the front of your house. That's kind of like the aesthetic of your house. Stories are what's going on inside your house. It might be a little bit more chaotic, a little more messy. I get to really see who you are when you're living inside your house.
Yeah, that's very interesting to put it that way. That basically your feed, which is your reels and your static post, are your curb appeal, and then the stories are, hey, here's what's going on inside. So that's a look at because people both want to like you and what you do. Correct?
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest, people aren't looking to take in education at every second on your page. So you want to, the reason why I think a personal brand is so important is because people get bought into you as a person first and then kind of what you do. So if I'm only posting real estate, which I have to admit, I've been a little bit more real estate heavy on my page lately, and I've actually had friends and followers tell me like, what's going on a little bit more behind the scenes. I haven't seen your dogs in a while. What's going on? And that's just because I've been a little bit more like transitioning in my personal life and maybe not posting as much. But it's funny how people get bought into your personal life and they want to know what's going on.
Well, what's interesting if you say that is the same reason I started off saying that 80% of your business came from social media. Now, we just talked about the metrics. Now, when you talk about, okay, inside of your life, you mentioned your dogs and you talked about your business side. It's not all about the statistics and numbers we can pull. The hard part is it's the content is what keeps people engaged. So how do you that seems to be some of the biggest struggle for people. It's like, what do I put on there? How do I put it? How do I think I sound dumb. Whatever. How do you choose content? Where do you find content? How do you choose and everything like that?
Well, to give a little tough love, I think there's zero excuse for saying I don't know what to post about. There's nothing to post about, or even saying my life is boring or any of that. It's really just an excuse, and it's not valid because there's, first of all, with all the technology out here today, there's so many ways you can find content to post about that's in your relevant industry. So that's, you can, I know we talked about ChatGPT yesterday. I don't personally use it a ton, but if I need some ideas, I'll go into ChatGPT and say five tips for first-time home buyers, and then they'll give you, and then if you ask for 20, you can use five of the 20, and then that's a post for you. But as far as what to post every day, I just always say you want to be on your stories every day. So you want your circle lit up every day. That can be something you do in your morning routine. Do you read? Do you journal? Do you take a walk? You do something in the mornings, even if it seems boring to you. Other people love to know what your day looks like. And if people get to kind of know your routine and that you're going to be posting that stuff, then they're going to come back and really start looking for it. So stories are going to be behind the scenes, what you're doing throughout the day. Are you a coffee lover, tea lover, or, do you drink a gallon of water a day? Something that you're going to be known for on there. And then as far as the content, to keep myself accountable for posting, I just have a very simple content calendar. It's a Google Doc. And Monday through Friday, I try to post something on there. So I try to get 5 posts a week. I don't necessarily say this one needs to be a reel, or this one needs to be a static post, or this needs to be a live, unless I'm doing an accountability challenge with someone on the team or something. But I just try to make sure I'm giving relevant information that's going to mix in educational. So I'll usually give some kind of like market update, whether that be a video or a static post. And then I try to highlight a local business on there. And then I try to throw in something personal. So I rotate between those three categories to come up with 5 different pieces of content a week.
Okay, so basically everything you do is potential content. And I guess
Right.
what's funny is it's people watch it. Like you mentioned, I drink a gallon of water a day, and people will watch you drink a gallon of water a day.
Because to me, that sounds unrealistic. Like if you can drink a gallon of water a day, that's interesting to me. That's crazy.
Yeah. So again, so like one thing I loved is we use the word tough love to say, hey, guess what? There are really no excuses for you not to post. And
Right.
now when we talk about that, we talked about scheduling a little bit, but it's not just about the metrics and what you do, but the big word you hear all the time is engagement. And where we talked earlier about a paradigm shift in our minds going through, 80% of your business has come from Instagram. You work that just like someone would cold call or something else. That is your prospecting tool. Am I correct?
Pretty much, yeah.
So pretty much. Talk about how much time you spend doing it to drive the business you have driven in comparison. Because most of us, when we think about social media, we think, I'm going to go in and watch a cat video. Okay, there's this, there's this. We don't view it as a true growth tool. So can you talk about what you do for engagement, the activities you do, the time you spend, things like that, so people understand that's really where your business, the post get it going, it's the engagement that closes the deal.
Right. I think that's kind of a loaded question. There's a few parts of a way to answer that, but essentially, if you're on this Zoom right now, then you're probably looking to use Instagram to grow your business. So that means you're probably not looking to do cold calling, door knocking, any of the traditional methods that do work, but it's a little bit more, to me, I just thought that was scary. I was never going to do that. I wasn't going to call everyone on my phone 5 times a day and ask them for business. That just wasn't something I was going to do. So I, from the get-go, knew that Instagram or social media was going to be what I did to bring in business, or I was at least going to try it. And if I failed, then I would go to the traditional method. But I wanted to give it at least a year of full effort. It took about 6 months to get going. So this is also not an overnight thing. So if you start doing something, you're not going to see success in the next 30 days, most likely. You could, but most likely not. Anything is about consistency. But I would say that you want to start making the content, and then the other part of that is engagement. So just making content isn't necessarily going to start bringing you business. You want to start engaging with your community, with your followers, and then engaging with local people also in your community on Instagram as well. So instead of spending 3 hours a day doing cold calling or lead gen, then I would give myself a lot of time to create content, to post content. And then once you've uploaded it, that's a great time to then get on there and engage. You can engage with the people who are engaging with your content, and then you can go outside of that and get on the platform and look for engaging on other people's content. Did someone just have a baby or get engaged, or did they have a life update, or did they just post a cute picture of their dog? Go like, comment, and share those things. And then as far as engaging with people outside of your following or your sphere, then you can start searching on there. You can search hashtags of local businesses or local places that you like to hang out, or local accounts, local influencers around you, and start engaging with those as well.
Okay, now when you talk about engaging with those, I do know you've collaborated with some people, and so what's it like for collaboration, and kind of what's the purpose in collaborating, and your kind of goal with it? Because you obviously you love coffee, you love cocktails, so I'm sure you're collaborating with people like that, and like I said, posting and going to those places. So can you tell us a little bit more about the collaboration and how it's helped your business?
Sure. To me, collabing is a crucial part of not only growing on Instagram, but really growing your local presence. So, at first, I think I was doing a lot of collabs with other realtors or other people who wanted to grow their platform. So, if you collab with someone and they have a larger following than you, then you get that following's eyeballs on your page and vice versa. So that's the benefit of that collab. But doing a local collab is that local business owner now knows you. You're supporting their business, and now they're promoting you as well and shouting you out as well into the community. So the more that, and this didn't start out with me just pitching local businesses. I actually just go to, local coffee shops, local restaurants, and I just tag every single place and person or business that I go to. So if you jump on my stories or you watch anything I do, you're going to see I'm in the local community daily. I'm tagging them, I'm tagging the location, and that's also getting me eyeballs that might not follow me from that location tag as well. Or if that local business shares me to their story, then people are seeing that as well. Then I would start to get a little more strategic with it and do local giveaways. So we would team up together and, say you have to like both of our or follow both of our pages and like this and tag a friend. And then that was just getting more exposure for both of us. It was a win-win. So just local collabs like that is how I got started. And now I'm doing things more where I might be getting paid to post, or I might getting paid to tour, or a home builder might want me to come look at a house, post about it for them, or I'm doing local ambassador programs with companies. Like I think we were talking about Pickle and Social, Roaring and Social, Fairway Social, if you've ever been to
Mm.
that. Now I used to support them so much and do so many client events there. Now they've asked me to be an ambassador of their program. So it doesn't start with you just getting these things. It starts with you supporting and showing up for them first.
Okay, which I mean, like I said, this is the new networking. You are going out and networking the public because uh, look how much COVID changed everything to where everyone's used to being hunkered down, and you're going out and you're going, no, I'm going to do it, and then you keep showing up. Like you said, this is not a sprint; it's a marathon. It took you 4 years, but in that 4 years, you've grown it to the point. Did you want to tell people what your goals were this year, just so they have an idea of what social media has you working it has provided for you?
Yeah, you mean my like my volume goals?
The individual volume goal, yeah.
Yeah. Individually this year, well, so I actually ended up doing a partnership this year. So our goal together is 20 million. So I think I had always looked at 20 million as my volume goal since I
Okay.
got started. They say to aim high. When you first get started, you're like, that sounds crazy. So that's still the goal that I'm shooting for this year. But the first year that I was licensed and on social media, I sold just over 6 million.
Wow.
So in your first year, looking back, like that is really great production. And
Mhm.
we talk about most of that did come from social media. So now some of my business is past client or sphere because I've built the community, but it started from Instagram.
So that is fantastic. I mean, especially in today's market, to be able to do that kind of volume and to be able to have those goals. Because one thing I believe, if you're like, I heard when my oldest daughter graduated from high school, valedictorian said, if your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough, you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
And so you set the bar here rather than settling down here. And that is awesome because again, that's you're working all the time in order to make that happen. And you're leveraging social media as your platform to make it happen, which means really social media, I've seen, I pop in there and I have my little thing that I do, but then I see some of the stuff people are posting and I see that you have 180,000 followers and this is what you post. And it goes to show that anybody can post anything and become something out of it. Correct?
Right. I think you just have to get started. And I was going to touch on imposter syndrome before,
Oh,
but we
great.
all have
Yes.
imposter syndrome, especially, being newly licensed like myself. I was new, like I didn't know what I was doing on Instagram, first of all, but also I was brand new to being licensed. I actually wasn't even licensed yet when I was starting to build the page. So imposter syndrome has always been there, and I don't think it really ever goes away because as you level up in your business or in your following or what you're doing, it's always a new opportunity you've never done before, and you really just have to go for it. No one really knows what they're doing. They're just going for it. So to kind of take a little pressure off is for everyone. No one knows what they're doing. They just kind of learn as they go. And I think surrounding yourself with people who are just kind of going for it or kind of emulate things that you want to do. And ways you can do that is you don't have to be in their direct circle. You can read books that they're publishing. You can follow them on Instagram, take in their content. Like for me, when I got started, I was following accounts that were teaching what I was trying to do or were already doing it. So sometimes it helps to follow competitors or competition or people you admire, to see what they're doing and not necessarily copy it, but take what they're doing. If it's working, then kind of create your own version of it and then do it in your own way.
Okay, so that's one. So you're always a student of it, is kind of this is what you're doing. So,
Always changing, right?
right. So what are some of the, I guess, as you look, it's constantly changing because before it was just Instagram had the post, then it was the story or the reel. I don't know which one came next, and there's always something going on. And like now, one thing I loved what you said earlier is if they come out with something new, that's what we're going to jump on because they'll promote you faster. Am I correct?
Right.
So what do I mean, you talked about how you're still a student of all of it, so you still follow a lot. What are some of the future trends you think, or what are some things that are here to stay? And, it's never too late to jump on the boat, but a lot of the boats have sailed, but that doesn't mean you can't jump on and still go. So what are some of the things that people really need to do in the future trends you see going with social media and Instagram?
Something I love about Instagram specifically is that they have always been kind of the main go-to social media platform, in my opinion. And they have always adapted to what other platforms are doing if they're trending and taken those features and put it on their own. So, like you just said, Instagram used to be just a posting platform. That was what we used Instagram for. Then blog posts kind of became a huge thing, the blogging world. Instagram then was allowing us to make really long captions and make it a little bit more bloggy. We also were able to put together guides, which was just like a blog. Then TikTok like blew up. Video became these short little second videos became something that started to be pushed. So Instagram took that and put that on their own. Then LinkedIn was allowing, I think LinkedIn was first with stories, actually. They
Hmm.
might have been. Or actually, it's Snapchat. I think they took Snapchat, then took that version and put it on stories, and then LinkedIn might have copied it. But stories became something Instagram adapted to because they realized that's how people were connecting and being social on there. So Instagram's all about being super social. The other platforms are a little bit more about entertainment. Like TikTok to me, is it the new Google? Maybe, but it's also more about entertainment. YouTube to me is kind of more the new Google. So Instagram's now biggest competitor probably is something like YouTube. So that's why they allow you to do lives and then to save those because that's a longer form content you can have. Um, they're always adapting. So that's why I love Instagram first and foremost. If you don't want to get overwhelmed with posting on all these other platforms, it kind of does all of them. But I think I got off track on the original question you asked me.
That's okay. I mean, basically, you did talk about what are the trends that you see coming, and how do you go? And then if basically what I think to sum it up, what you said is Instagram will always grab whatever trend, and you just got to kind of run with it.
Right. And they're always telling you what they're wanting to see. So if you follow accounts specifically that are teaching Instagram, they're giving you the first information of they are actually sitting down and having calls with Meta and asking, what do you want from creators right now or business owners or anyone on here? And they'll just tell you. So it's not really hard to guess at what they want. And then you can look at your own analytics and see, well, what do my followers want? And you can just ask your followers, that's great thing about stories is what do you want to see from me? Is it more personal life? Is it more home tours? Is it more education? Is it first time home buyers? Like niche it down if you want to. And they'll tell you what they want to see. Usually it's a mix of all. I usually see that people just want a mix of all of it, or they want a little bit more personal. But as far as uh, future trends, I just think video is going to be, I don't know that static posts will completely ever go away, but video is just going to be your main form of pushing out content.
Okay, so a question for you. Is this something that you just like go on Instagram, hit the search and say Instagram tips, and that will pull up those people that do stuff like that? How do people search it like you search it? Or my kids say search it up.
So actually, Meta did introduce on Instagram where you can ask questions on there now. So you
Okay.
could just ask Meta on there,
Oh, wow.
or you can type it into YouTube or Google. You'll find a ton of different information videos on that stuff. But when we get towards the end, I'm gonna give you a few accounts to follow to really get started on if you don't know how to post, what to post, and then get inspiration from.
Okay. Well, I know we're actually kind of coming on here now to where we're going to wrap this and open it up for the Q&A. So if you sit there and say, okay, guys, to take this last 30 minutes of all this knowledge you've given us, say, guys, okay, I started this 4 years ago. Here are the things you want to do. Like you talked about scheduling your post and kind of you want to do this. Could you kind of paraphrase it and go, okay, hey, I started this 4 years ago. First, I did the research and I just started posting. And now I know you talked about how you only post schedule a week out. Can you just kind of give us a snapshot overview of kind of like, here's what I do every day, and here's doing this every day got me to where I am now.
Yeah, sure. I'll condense it to one, you just kind of have to get over yourself and your imposter syndrome. You have to show up, and as a personal brand, you have to be in the brand. You can't hire it out. So, these product and these big box brands, they kind of get to hire it out, and that's great for them. But you, as a personal brand, you have to have your face and your voice on there. You can use ChatGPT for some inspiration, but I still think you have to take it and make it your own voice, and alter it in that way. But then I think you need to get realistic on how you can actually post on there and do that consistently. So is that 3 times a week? Is that one video a week, one static post a week, or 2 posts a week? And can you be on your story at least 3 to 5 times a week? Every day is preferred for stories, but if that sounds overwhelming, just take what sounds realistic to you and then do that and build on it, because really becomes a muscle memory and then it becomes a machine. So for me, it probably looks like I'm pumping out a lot of content, but what I'm doing right now is me on autopilot, to be honest, because I've just done it for so long now. It's just kind of become routine. Um, then changing your mindset on, oh, well, I'm wasting my time because I'm on Instagram, for half the day, or I'm creating content for half the day. Um, if this is going to be your main source of how you're getting your business, then you're not wasting your time. You're actually pouring into your business. So changing your mindset in that way. And I know we're busy. We have lives, first of all, outside of business, personal lives. And then we do have our business that we have to maintain. So social media is a true second job. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It's not like it ever gets easier as far as time commitment, but you can get better at time blocking. So if I wanted to set up content and do that once a week and get all my content for the week, then that means I only took half a day or one day of getting all my content. And then I could also probably edit in that same day. And then for the next 4 days, I don't really need to think about my content. It's already set up for the week. Um, I know we talked about doing like branding shoots and investing in professional video marketing. That stuff can be expensive, but it also saves so much time because it's already done for you, it's already edited for you, and then you just have to post it or put a caption with it. But then following other accounts and staying inspired and giving yourself challenges, if in partner with other people. That's what I've done with other agents, even just to say, all right, we're gonna do, like right now I'm doing an August accountability challenge. We're going to do X amount of posting and X amount of lives and X amount of putting our face on there, because you do start slipping a little bit. Life happens, summer happens. And that gets us back into the routine of every day showing up on there.
Okay, so one thing that I said, it's hard work. It's not easy. So many of us that they are trying. Oh, let's do this. Let me post a few things and let business go. There is no easy button. Just like it's hard to make 50 calls a day or anything like that. It's hard to do this, and I love the fact that you said it is work, and it's not all fun. Some of it I'm sure is fun, but it's not all there. So with going through all this and just hearing all the work you put in, to become an overnight sensation, So it's amazing, really, that all you've done and how you still push and stretch yourself, and then of course you have the accountability piece, which a lot of people don't want accountability, right? They just want to, oh, I did it, and no one's going to tell me I didn't do enough. So that's fantastic. So really, to sit there and see kind of, and being able to hear more of your story and what you've created over the last 4 years has definitely challenged me, because again, I had to start a brand new account myself less than 60 days ago, and I'm going wondering how to do it. And then I have to remember, I'm not going to have the other account I had anymore. I have to start over, and it is a process. um any last words you want to give to anybody before we open it up for your questions?
Yeah, I want to give you some accounts to follow. So if you do get stuck or you're really, even after this, just confused, like I know I've said, you just got to do it. And if you're like, I really don't know what that means, then go follow all of these accounts. And after that, there's just no excuse of not knowing when to get started. So for social media marketing, Chelsea Pites, her handle is at Chelsea, CHELSEA dot PEITS. She used to be specific for realtor marketing. Now she's just social media. So I think that's really great for just knowing what to post, what's trending, and how to create content that people want to see. Another one that's just specific for realtors, so just realtor tips and advice, and how to grow on Instagram and get leads on Instagram. Her name is Sarah Hilton, and her at is the Lead Suite. And then another account I follow that's kind of my bread and butter for if I'm like, oh, what do I post today? But I want it to be real estate related, is Keeping Current Matters. And if you are in the real estate industry and you're not following this account anyways, you really need to be. Their at is just Keeping Current Matters. All they do is give you market updates, stats. They tell you exactly what's going on in the market. It's very relevant. It's very good information.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Now, I guess we want to go ahead and see if there are any questions. So you have the Q&A down below, and if you want to go ahead and pop in any questions for Alicia, love to hear what you have to ask. My bottom bar is blocked. Okay, if you were to, here, I got one here. If you were to restart today, what would you do to really grow your page? And how often would you post weekly? How many stories should you post daily? And how do you tastefully, well, this is a lot of questions. How about this? Let's break it down into smaller chunks. If you had to restart again today, like you did 4 years ago, how often would you post weekly to start off?
So they're still saying you should post 1 to 2 times a day. I know that sounds super overwhelming. So I would pick again what is realistic for you to stay consistent, but I would probably do 5 times a week.
5 times a week. Okay. And it doesn't matter if it's business day or weekend, or does it matter?
I don't think it matters. I just think it needs to be valuable to your audience. So anything you post, you don't want to just put filler posts out there. That's really pointless. Value can be educational, entertaining. It can be personal. So anything you do, you just want to make it something that could be of value to who's watching it. So just for example, if you build your brand first, and that's why I always say to do that first. For me, it's not like I just post real estate home tours and client reviews and closings and all of that. Or homes for sale, because people get kind of bogged down with all that stuff. If I do post a closing, I do a story behind it. I tell the story of what the closing was, and then the little gift basket I did, I might do a video of that. So it really shows people like I'm care about my clients, and then also I give the story of what happened behind the scenes. And then I might do a personal post as far as my dogs, a day in the life of what my day looked like that week. Or you could, if you went to an event or a wedding, something like that, to give a little bit of insight. So you don't have to be super personal. People don't have to know exactly what's going on inside your life.
Okay, now what about that's for your post? What about your stories? How often should you post on your story?
I think you need to be on your stories every day.
So that's an everyday thing then.
Yes, if you want to take weekends off, that's fine because you don't want to get overwhelmed or burnt out, or showing up like, oh, I don't want to be on here today. But if you're not on your stories daily, people don't know if they message you if you're going to respond, and we're all a little bit afraid of rejection. So if I want to send a DM to Corey, but he hasn't posted in a month and he's never on his stories, I don't really know if he's going to see it.
Hmm. Okay, I've never really thought about that. Not showing up in your stories means they think you're not going to show up at all. Okay, that's very interesting. Now when you do talk about your posts, I know you kind of have you have your different things that you do, but how much do you push your brand and how much do you keep from is there like a 50-50 personal, 50% business and to keep from burning people out on it?
I think really I'll take what's going on in my business and kind of at the time, or questions that I'm frequently getting at networking events, parties. If you're in real estate and someone knows you're a realtor, you do mortgages, they're asking you, how's the market? What are rates doing? If you take those frequently asked questions and create content around it, other people are thinking them too. So it's not necessarily burning people out if you're doing education on there. The right, people who want to know are seeing that. Giving stats on your local market. I think all of that, people like to see that. Or even if they're not in the market to buy a home, or if they own a home, they probably want to know how our home price is trending, just all of that kind of stuff. But I will mix in personal, especially on stories. Did I have coffee that morning? Did I do like a workout class? Did one of my dogs eat something that I have in my house, mixed in with a day full of real estate stuff, because that keeps people entertained also.
Okay.
And as far as posting, I'll try to make sure I have 1 to 2 personal posts a week as well.
Hey, well, now what's interesting to put off that, got another question. They said, what if you like your top two, three best performing posts that can you recreate them, or is it just this was a one hit wonder, or do you have like a theory that this type of post does best for me?
So for me, it doesn't really have a rhyme or reason a lot of times when something might go viral. So when I originally started, I just wanted the growth. So I think I did a little bit more of the funny meme type reels or realtor related reels. And while that was getting me views and follows, it wasn't necessarily local follows. So then I kind of readjusted and went way more local hyper focused, because if I do a post about a local coffee shop and that gets 5,000 views, and by the way, some of those are what goes viral for me, which is
Oh, wow.
perfect. Then it's going viral in the local area that I want. Um, that makes more sense to me than a viral realtor funny video. So I think you really want to know who are you trying to talk to? Are you trying to get clients on there? Are you trying to get collabs on there, like partnership brand deals on there? What your goal on is on there, then that's what you need to be posting. So necessarily posting funny reels or memes all the time isn't necessarily going to get you clients.
Okay, that's one thing I love is I hear you're very intentional on what you post because you have a target. This is a business plan. This is a business strategy. It's just not let me grab everyone because you can't sell a house to someone in Oregon, right? So
You get a
that's
referral fee maybe, but
that's great. Well, hey, last question, and then we got to wrap it on up here. Have you ever utilized paid ads? This is the last.
That's a great question. So I have done paid ads for like listing marketing, but my partner and I, we are about to start doing paid advertising for our brand, because I see it happening with local influencers I follow, and I'm a sucker for buying things off Instagram. So it works on me. And Instagram targets me so well, like they have me down so well. So I think it is a good idea to do the paid advertising. You can also boost a post if it's kind of trending and doing well. You can pay to boost that, and I have done that before. But I think the video paid is where you would find the most success.
Okay. I know we said last questions, but these questions are big. One is, can you please repeat your Instagram handle?
Yeah, mine is at happy hour underscore home.
Yeah. And then someone else asked, could you repeat the other accounts one more time too? Because they're trying to write them down because now you've got them all.
Yeah. Yeah. So for social media marketing, Chelsea Pites, her handle is at CHELSEA dot PEITZ. And then for the relevant real estate information, keeping current matters, and their at is just keeping current matters.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much. If y'all have any other questions, feel free. Oh, thank you, Hannah, for putting those in the chat to help out. If y'all have any other questions that you'd love Alicia to answer, please just feel free to reach out to us on LinkedIn. We'll connect with Alicia and do it. Alicia, do you want to say any one last thing as I wrap it up here?
Yeah, I was just gonna say if you want to shoot me a DM ever, my DMs are always open. I like to say that constantly also. So people always know you can shoot me a DM and I'm gonna be there to answer.
And guess what? If you live in the metro Atlanta area or even looking to buy outside of it, please reach out to Alicia Maddox. She would love to help you out. So, again, thank you, Alicia, so much for joining us today. And again, I want you all to hop on, follow, please. Everyone follow Alicia. We're going to put this out here, and then take a look at the other sites she gave in order to help grow yours. This is a challenge for y'all. Remember, as she said, this is a marathon. This is not a sprint. You might get some quick wins, but she built her business over 4 years to what it is today, to where she has a goal of $20 million. And remember, 80% of her business comes from social media. So, Alicia, thank you so much for coming back a second time, teaching us everything you know. Stay tuned for more speaker series coming up. We'll be talking about markets and things like that. And who knows, maybe if y'all say it yet one more time, we'll bring Alicia to deep dive even more. So, again, thank you very much. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into this quarter's Silverton Speaker Series.
Thank you.